Alright, McCulloch v. Maryland, 1819, Supreme Court case. A couple years before the Supreme Court case, Congress is gonna try once again creating national banks. And they put one right in the state of Maryland. The man they put in charge of the bank is James McCulloch, and he follows a long tradition of all bankers being extremely sexy. Maryland is upset about this bank. Maryland's all like, hey yo, bank, you're in my state, I'm gonna tax you. Now, the state is taxing the federal government, but that's not really what it's all about. It's like the Joker in The Dark Knight. He's not doing it for the money. It's about power. So James McCulloch is working at the National Bank and he finds out that Maryland is trying to tax this institution. He's all like, nah. So this case will go all the way up to the Supreme Court. Maryland's going to argue that states have the right to tax institutions within its borders. They also don't believe Congress has the right to create a national bank because it is not written in the Constitution. You know Jefferson is loving this stuff. He loves the 10th Amendment. It's up to the Supreme Court to decide if McCulloch's right or is the state of Maryland right. Alright, identify the term that states the Supreme Court can decide if government action is constitutional. If you said judicial review, you're totally awesome. Okay, so the Supreme Court makes a decision regarding McCulloch v. Maryland, 1819. They rule that states do not have the power to tax the national government. And more importantly, they rule Congress has implied powers. They justify this through the Constitution with what's called the Necessary and Proper Clause. This is also known as the Elastic Clause. It's way annoying the AP test makes you know two names for the same thing. To make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or office thereof. Punishing tax evaders is an implied power that comes from the express power to lay and collect taxes. The John Marshall Court is empowering the national government. The impact of McCulloch v. Maryland is that Congress can use implied powers to carry out their express powers. I know, so smart, right? Totally. Drafting Americans is an implied power that comes from the express power to raise armies and a navy. Well, it's time for me to go fight ignorance elsewhere. But don't forget, McCulloch v. Maryland, very important Supreme Court case, gives Congress implied powers. Hasta la vista.